Good morning. Are you the team's chief problem solver? So are you the manager where people bring their most difficult problems or frustrations or decisions for you to make, and it means that you are constantly overwhelmed with just lots of difficult challenges to overcome, and it takes you away from your day job. It stops them naturally developing, and it creates a bit of a dependence which is often unhealthy in the teams. It's incredibly common. It's something that we help a lot of managers with. They're often sort of fairly early in their career, but it can strike you at any time in your career depending on the team that you're working with or the organisation you're in. So in this video what we're going to do is we're going to share 5 strategies and tips that we use on managers to help them free their time up and get more control of their work. So these videos that we put together, we put tips out almost every week, and these are for sort of modern progressive managers that are looking to sort of develop their way in which they work. The reason why I do them in the woods is because I'm a dad of young children, so I have to do it out on the baby walk in the mornings. So here we go. So here are the 5 tips. So first, why does it happen? Well, it happens for a whole variety of reasons. You know, sometimes in organisations, people want to have validation or the safety of their manager saying, please, my manager said this is what they wanted, when sometimes they actually know the answer. Sometimes it's because they just don't know, and there's an actual learning gap as well. But the manager can often be the architect of their own downfall here. So what happens is they have a belief that they need to be helpful. I must help my people, so when they come to me with problems or frustrations or decisions, I just need to take them on. And so what happens over time is there just becomes a learned dependence, and it just keeps happening. And so what we often do when we work with managers is we work at the belief level, which is, you know, what belief about leadership is meaning that you're just taking these things on and you're saying, just leave it with me. So sometimes it's about being helpful. So we'll often challenge that and say, well, it's better to be useful than helpful. So to be useful means it's often in the short term, it's not actually what your member of the staff wants. They want you to give them a quick, fast answer so they can keep moving, and then it's your problem potentially. What we're saying is you need to take time to take a step back and work it through with them. So these are the 5 things that we've got. So number 1 is just be really clear in your own mind the kind of problems and decisions that you'll take off your team, okay? And be really clear on the ones that you're going to work with them. And once you're really clear with those things, then share it with your team. You can share it with them individually or collectively. And therefore people really know, and it can be part of a dialogue, because then people can then really open up and say, look, I've got a skill shortage in this particular area. And then we can identify training needs as well. But by having that clarity, then people know when to come to you. The second one is ask your team when they do come to you with options. So they may have a capability gap, they may not know what the answer is, and that's okay. But if they've come to you with options, it means that they've given it some thought, and then it gives you some really meaty content to work with them together. And this is where you can then start to share your expertise. So when they come to you with options, you can then help them assess the pros and the cons of each option, the implications, and then if it's safe enough, you can actually get them to make a decision, and then sort of take some smart risk. And when people take small, smart risks is when they really learn, because they feel really responsible. And the third one is to make sure that you've delegated enough authority and responsibility to them. So one of the reasons that it happens is managers often become the bottleneck, because members of the team just can't do anything. They don't have authorization to sign certain things off or to make types of decisions or allocate resources. So they just keep having to come back to the manager. So that demonstrates a lack of trust. So sometimes we work in regulated organizations, no excuse, it still can happen. You know, it's just been really mindful, planful, and sort of setting some bounded responsibility that you're constantly evaluating. The fourth one is to ask questions to help them define the problem. So are they bringing you a symptom or a problem? And so by asking questions that get them to look beneath the surface, it actually makes them better at their job. So you can ask questions like, what's the rationale behind this? What might have contributed to this issue? What might be your role? Because often they want to come and just blame and scapegoat someone else. What might be your role in this as well? So it gets people to be more reflexive and reflective about it too. And number 5 is be really clear when they come to you. Ask you, what is it that you want me to do with this? Sometimes people just want to have a moan. I know it's human nature, and they just want to let a bit of steam off. But managers can be quite literal. They're too overloaded and they're like, oh my God, another thing. And so they take it on board, but really the person just wants to let a bit of steam off. And so it's quite good to be really clear what it is that they want you to do with it. And also make a little bit of time in their one-to-ones where they can let a bit of steam off, but make it really constructive. Put some boundaries around it so that they can then take some positive steps to sort of maybe potentially correct some of that moaning. So take some positive steps to fix it as well. So implement these 5 steps. What you'll find is very quickly over time is you'll start to get more autonomy within your people. You'll get them to develop their practical judgment. They'll be more resourceful. And one of the things that actually managers sort of beneath the surface why they fall into this position is they generally don't know what they would do if they weren't the chief problem solver. So be really clear what else is it you would do, like working on the team direction, building better relationships across the organisation, engaging with your manager to make sure that the strategy is really clear. All those other things that you put off because you're constantly swamped as the chief problem solver, and over time you'll really find it. So some tips for you there. We release these videos every week, so feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just press the bell and you get notified about it. And also please feel free to share your tips about what you would do to stop being the chief problem solver in your team.